The Black Studies program at Cleveland State University welcomes you to this season of Images, a public affairs radio forum dedicated to open dialogue on a variety of diverse topics of interest and issues of concern, which focus on the life and experiences of African Americans and all peoples of African descent. By visiting our website at www.csuohio.edu/blackstudies or calling 216-687-3655, you can learn more about upcoming Black Studies program events and activities. Now, here is your host for Images.
And welcome to Images. I'm Prester Pickett, your host for this broadcast of Images. We are in a very special season, the holiday season, with an opportunity for us to reflect upon some of our history here at Cleveland State University, 50 years of history, actually with the establishment of an Afro-American Cultural Center at Cleveland State in 1970. We also have this season to celebrate because our Kuumba Arts Festival is an opportunity for us to gather some very special artists in our community to perform here on our campus. This year it was by way of Zoom, but we still kept that tradition moving forward. And because, like one of the songs that opened this year's Kuumba Arts Festival, I was able to call on some people and they said, "I'll be there." Those people are here in our studio virtually now, and they are the individuals who are also recognized as CSU alumni. Welcome to Images, y'all. Now, to get us started, I am going to share some things, and I'll ask you as alumni to note some of the things that may be of interest to you, so that if we talk further about these upcoming events, we can think that maybe you will join us for one, two, or all of these events if your schedule permits. So our 2021 celebrations, leaving 2020, are intended to include an opening candlelight vigil for the celebration and commemoration of the legacy of Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and Coretta Scott King. This will just be a candlelight vigil. We also will continue in February with our traditional Carter G. Woodson and Madam C.J. Walker extravaganza on February 1st. On February 25th, we have a very special edutainment panel where we've asked individuals in our communities who are associated with various institutions, such as the Karamu House Theater with Tony Sias, as well as the Cleveland Public Theater with Raymond Bobkin, to join scholars on our campus like Dr. Adrienne Gosselin, as well as Professor Holly Holsinger, and we will celebrate this discussion about agency in the Black community again on February 25th. I'm excited because we just had a conversation with Dr. Wallace, a representative of Nordonia High School, to be able to understand that there's an interest of that school in participating with some of our events, so we extend a special welcome to them in advance. We'll continue into the celebration of Black History Month and its closing with a national conference here at Cleveland State University, Project 400's conference, which will allow us to reflect on the history of African descendants arriving here in these United States of America. We also have the March celebration of Women's History Month, and that will be a special event where we will have a historical presentation with a one-woman show, followed by a woman scholar announcing this process of engaging history. We leave March with an April 2nd puppet show, y'all. So we'll have a puppet show for our little ones, and then associate that with Cleveland history and Black history, and then close our celebration, hopefully on April 23rd, with a Dr. William Wasson basketball challenge, where we traditionally, when we were on campus, would have a basketball game with members of the Cleveland Police Department and fire departments joining in celebrating the relationships that we want to build with our students on campus. So possibly some things for you all as alumni to reflect on, or some new things for you to say, wow, I did not know about that. That sounds very interesting, Prester. But let's go to our reflection of this Kuumba Arts Festival that we had on December 5th. We are waiting for that cast party, but I feel like some of it is right here now with the alumni that were participants on program in the show joining us at this time. So we're going to start off in going through the sequence as much as we can of that show and share with our listening and viewing audiences of images some of the goals that we accomplished on that day. So Kwanzaa Brewer, we celebrate Kwanzaa with the principle of Kuumba, and we celebrate Kwanzaa because we had Kwanzaa in our pre-Kwanzaa celebration. So can you introduce yourself as well as what you did as a participant in the Kuumba Arts Festival?
Yes, greetings everyone. My name is Kwanzaa Brewer. I'm a proud alumni of Cleveland State University. Currently, I'm an educator with Cleveland Metropolitan School District, and I'm also the president-elect of the National Association of Black Storytellers, and I am a member of the Cleveland Association of Black Storytellers. I really, really enjoyed being a part of the Kuumba Arts Festival, not only this year, but every year. Being a part of the Kuumba Arts Festival this year, I had the opportunity to be a part of the libation, which we know honors our not only our ancient ancestors, but also the ancestors of our family and the ancestors in the community. So it's a beautiful way to honor them and to remember their legacy and recommit ourselves to some of the goals and achievements that we have for the upcoming year. I also had the opportunity to perform with my son a Langston Hughes poem, Mother to Son. And poetry is very near and dear to me. As a student at Cleveland State University, I was one of the co-founders of the Black Poetic Society, and I finally remember that as well. It was an opportunity for 5 African American students to come together and do performance poetry from the depths of our soul and bring in community. So the Kuumba Arts Festival was a wonderful way for families to reconnect. We all have fond memories of coming into the main classroom and other places to enjoy the Kuumba Arts Festival, to see community members. It was like a big, huge family reunion. And believe it or not, even on Zoom, it was like a big, huge family reunion. Some of my classmates, Douglas Austin and Anthony Rucker, who we know as the Boogeyman, also were able to join. And it just, again, it's a reminder that family is important, that even in and during a pandemic, we had time to not only reconnect, but connect in the arts. So that was especially a fond memory of mine. It's a wonderful opportunity, like I said, not only to reconnect with family, with friends, but to honor those special community members. One of a special time, I didn't get a chance to tell Prester, it was as we were opening up the show, we had some community members to do food. And it was almost as if watching them prepare their food and cook their food, you could smell it, you could taste it, even virtually. So it was a wonderful time to connect all of the 5 senses, what we could see, what we could hear, what we could reminisce, what we could taste, what we could touch, and connect to through the Kuumba Arts Festival. It was just a continuation of the spirit of the 7 principles of Kwanzaa. I'm always honored to be a part of the Howard A. Mims African American Cultural Center. because when I first started at Cleveland State, that was one of the places I called home. That was one of the places that embraced me and many other students at Cleveland State University. It really made us feel valued. It made us use our voices. It challenged us. It even made room for us because we were able to build and grow into the people who we are today. And we always continue to grow. So growth inside of the Kuumba Arts Festival, inside of reconnecting with family and friends and community, it really warmed our hearts. It gave us something to talk about, and it gave the greater Northeast Ohio community and beyond the opportunity to be a part of the Kwanzaa celebration, the pre-Kwanzaa celebration in the Kuumba Arts Festival.
Well, Kwanzaa, we thank you definitely, as well as you reflected on our presence of Douglas the Wise Cat Hostin, who is working on his PhD, as well as Anthony the Boogeyman Rucker, who was working on his PhD. And we were able to honor with the Silver Bee Edutainment Award Dr. Mary Weems. So we have a collective of educators that are associated with the Howard A. Mims African American Cultural Center. And you are one of those educators that is now bringing us national notoriety through your position as president-elect for the National Association of Black Storytellers. And you were joined by other educators such as Lisa Hunt. We don't have her on screen for those of you who will tune in. Well, yes, we do have her on screen. And with that, we'll ask her to give some reflections of her educational background and how she joined us. And then we'll reflect on the closing of the show, even with our special guest, Don Cornelius. We're going to talk about that very shortly. But Lisa, can you talk about how you were once engaged through the Howard Mims Cultural Center as a performing artist and how you grew at Cleveland State University into your role as an educator and a leader in our arts community and higher learning community?
Pastor, I tell you, it's some people, when you are close to their light, you shine, and you are one of those people. So thank you for speaking so highly of me and this amazing journey that I've had with Cleveland State. I will always be indebted to Cleveland State, not just for the academia, but also dance was such a fuel to my education. It was a good way for me to balance the academics and the rigor by having a place where I could be in my body, connect with other artists. And a shout out to Professor Lynn Deering, who really was a leader and is a leader and knows that it's so important to bring that collective. So she always brought choreographers in. There was always a process where we felt included. And I just remember my first connection to the Cultural Arts Center was hearing conversation, and it drew me in because there was always this place of debate, a place where you could find home and like-minded people where you could sort of iron would sharpen iron there. And so for me, you call me an educator, but it was dance education that connected me to my community for youth and adults through praise dance. And I was able to continue that and get my minor from Cleveland State, which now, shout out to CSU with a major in dance now. But just the fact that I was able to also see Cleveland State go from the older campus to then merge with Playhouse Square and become one of the second largest performing arts district, I think second to New York. A lot of people don't know that. So performing from the Cleveland State old theaters into now going into Playhouse Square where you're performing at the Hannah. And so I think the connection of us as artists and individuals growing has also been alongside the trajectory of the university. And it growing and emerging. So I've seen the dance department buoy into this place where now there's commercial dance, there's community dance, there's, like I said, a major, but all of it is from this place of, like you, Prester, leaders, educators who took us under your wings and allowed us to bring our gifts and talents and gave us opportunities, just like the Kuumba Arts Festival. The fact that you saw a way out of no way, because we're in COVID, it's a pandemic. And when you proposed to do everything on Zoom, I gotta say at first I was a little hesitant, but we did it. And we did it in such a way that it blessed so many people. And people were able to tune in from their homes and see the history and the legacy of this, not only this department, but this university and the impact on the city and for us as individuals. So I'm always growing, and thank you for bringing me into this.
And because you were already that seed ready to grow like you are, we were able to even engage you through the Cultural Center with some of our engagements in the community. So you took on the venture with us to go to different parts of our city to perform and to share your dance talent. You also participated in one of our first nationally recognized productions, Sister I'm Sorry, which lifted a very significant documentary into a presentation onto the stage. So you were featured with that, and you pulled together a team of other dancers. And I was so excited to hear you when we first started talking about the Kuumba Arts Festival, as you were ready to pull a team together. But I said, Lisa, we want to have individuals perform because of our need to social distance. So the fact that your energy in your dance performance, as we gave a tribute to the legacy of Ozzie Davis through the Cultural Center, and we called on people like Dr. Adrienne Gosselin and Dr. Lisa Byrne to share their scholarship to introduce these theatrical productions, is again what made it special. We even extended to this celebration of the Soul Train, and we had our own Don Cornelius by way of Sheldon Glave. Sheldon, can you introduce yourself to our listening and viewing audience for those on YouTube? But can you talk about how you advanced with introducing your cultural background to the African American Cultural Center at Cleveland State University? Because we celebrate diversity and we forget that there is so much rich diversity in our own Black experience that then allows us to connect with other cultures. So your cultural background, heritage, your interest in the arts, and how you were our Don Cornelius for our Kuumba Arts Festival 2020. Bring it to me, bro, on this golden year.
Hello, everyone. My name is Sheldon Glave, class of 97. I was a transfer student into Cleveland State, reluctantly left the University of Rochester to come to Cleveland State. Originally from the West Indies. I moved here when I was 11 years old. Jamaica born and bred still, I feel like. And, you know, I went to Kenyon and I went to University of Rochester. And I felt like I wasn't able to really, you know, embrace my culture until I came to Cleveland State and was around people that looked a lot like me and people that appreciated my culture. And the funny thing is, Sage, you know, Sage said something when we got off the show last time. And it says he was speaking in patois. And I remember every time I walk into the Cultural Center, everyone would just start speaking patois. So I'd have to speak patois. So that really made me feel good. It was embracing. I just wanted to graduate, and Presser was like, "No, you're Paul Robeson. You can't graduate until you be Paul Robeson." And now Don Cornelius, he's always had these really, really big characters for me to play, and I've always enjoyed it. You know, it's one of those things where something special happened in this particular event we just did. I have to say this. My boss, my supervisor, watched it, and he doesn't look like us, and he absolutely loves Kwanzaa. Like, he literally, like, I need to meet this lady and her son because he super enjoyed it. And that's the kind of impact that we have on people that we don't even know that we have, you know. And that's something that I hold dear to my heart. I enjoy singing. Presser's still trying to get me to sing. I hope that can happen here soon one day. I really enjoy seeing the people, Boogie and Kwanzaa, and working with Lisa. I don't think Lisa and I have ever performed together. This might be the first one, but thank you again, Presser. Thank you for pushing me to be a part of the Cleveland State community.
Well, again, to keep you a part of the Cleveland State University community. And that's our role because, again, you all have to remember that you came in with talents. And that's one of the things that I do in my role as the coordinator is to remind our students that you are already talented. And it is our responsibility to give you that platform to share your talents and to then, through our particular role with sharing African American and African diasporic cultures, is to say that these are some of the cultures that are very rich in performance traditions and have so much to offer. And therefore, we can then use, in addition to the academic program, this platform. Now, I did see that we had Janine Gaskin with us. I hope that she can continue in the conversation and join us again eventually, unless she's on another part of the screen. But Janine, are you still here with us? If not, hopefully she'll call back in and get into the conversation. And it sounds like we heard a ding, so I'm hoping that that's going to be her joining us at this time. So as she is now coming on, I'm going to give you this pre-introduction to some of her work and the fact that she is one of our outstanding alumni who has been engaged with the African American Cultural Center. Janine, are you able to turn on your microphone and give us that introduction where, again, I don't need you to be the modest person that you are. We need to understand your national notoriety through the film projects. And then I'm going to ask you to reflect on your status as a role model, Sheldon, as well as Lisa, because we had our undergraduate students performing with you all in this year's Kuumba Arts Festival, as we have traditionally done. So talk about what you think our students were able to take away because of your performance and engagement. But first, let's hear about that rich history of yours, Janine Gaskin.
Hello, everyone. My name is Janine Gaskin, and I am an alumni as well. I graduated in 2002 from Cleveland State. I don't even know where to begin. I have to say that Prester gave me my first lead role in a play. So I'm truly indebted to him. From there, I went on to working at Cleveland Public Theater, working at Karamu, working really all across Cleveland in a bunch of different theaters. I would say that my strength is satire. Anything that ruffles anyone's feathers is what I love to do. And I've taken part in films. I've been in a Lifetime film called With This Ring. I've participated in an award-winning film, Milkweed, produced in Akron. I was a lead actress in that as well. I've casted a film that won plenty of awards in film festivals. I've participated in the 48-Hour Cleveland Film Festival. Many films that I've been in, many theater, and I've just recently started directing. I directed a Devise piece called Devise Blues Uncut and Funky at Baldwin Wallace, which was a blessing out of this world. It was all done via Zoom. And I was an assistant director at Ensemble Theater for Intimate Apparel by Lynn Nottage. So that's kind of my resume.
I don't know if we have the history of saying we gathered the largest gathering at Cleveland State University of African American community through Zoom, but I can say that at that point with the Kuumba Arts Festival, it was one of the largest gatherings through our Black Studies program. So you helped us to develop the audience as well. And again, even reflecting on the fact that you have been a director, you had a chance as Lisa and our other alumni to service as a role model. What do you think the undergraduate students will say about this experience of the Kuumba Arts Festival that aligned them with professional talents as well as alumni so that they can advance their careers with greater security and knowing that there is someone out there who likes what they like and who are doing some of the things that they want to do. Can you talk about your role as an educator, even in inspiring our undergraduate students and other students and younger people who may have seen you perform at other times in the Kuumba Arts Festival and in our last Kuumba Arts Festival?
I think anytime our youth can see real people striving and pursuing the same goal, it just makes it that much more attainable. So it's a like, man, in the arts world, we're artists. So number one, we're making everything possible. We've revamped and changed everything. So just to be able to say, man, this person, I knew this person when, and they're able to move and strive this far, that it just makes it possible and more attainable. So
Part of our celebration in the Kuumba Arts Festival engage you with a performance of a scene from the Colored Museum by George Wolfe. And some of his lines allow us to reflect on how important it is for us to take something out of nothing and make something. We dared to present our flaws. I think that is what's most exciting for those who saw us perform together on Zoom. It was live. We did not record that. So these technical challenges, I don't even know if you know that we had 2 camera failures in our house. So Bertha, as my wife performing with you in that scene, had to relocate from the dining room back into the living room. So she started out in the dining room with you and then ended up in the living room in my chair, and I'm holding a wig on this side, and I'm beckoning my other son to hold the other wig up on this side. So these are things that were happening to say that, yes, there were many flaws that can be detected, but this unique experience of bringing our community together. I'm down to my last 1 minute and 30 seconds. So I am going to begin to wrap up. I'm actually wearing the costume of the black beard and my tam. So thank you, Lisa, for hooking up with this look of the 1970s.
I do want to say too, we've always created art for a purpose. And even with Sister I'm Sorry, it was about domestic violence. We are in a place of healing. I think the arts will heal. What we're showing to our young people is keep it going, keep thriving, stay connected, and keep creating.
And that's a perfect note for us to end on, and takes us into the scholarship in our lessons in the Introduction to Black Studies by way of Dr. Maulana Karinga. And he is, again, even the founder of this Kwanzaa celebration. So that perfect connection into what we are trying to accomplish with our discussion here on Images. Thank you, alumni and supporters of the African American Cultural Center, named in the memory and legacy of Dr. Howard A. Mims. And thank you for tuning in to Images.
You have been listening to Images, a public affairs radio program produced by the Cleveland State University Black Studies Program and this station. The opinions expressed were those of the participants and do not necessarily reflect those of Cleveland State University, the Black Studies Program, or the station. We hope you have enjoyed the music performed by the Jazz Heritage Orchestra. If you are interested in finding out more about the Black Studies Program, call 216-687-3655 or visit our website at www.csuohio.edu/blackstudies.